Today, we're going to do a camera comparison between the Galaxy S24 Ultra versus the Honor Magic 6 Pro. Now, we're starting off with portrait mode and you can get up to 5x on both phones. Now, for the cutouts, it seems like the Galaxy is more consistent, especially around my glasses. There are some times where the Honor can be a little bit blurry on the edges, but for the most part, it's still not that bad. Another thing I noticed is once you're shooting at the telephoto range at 2.5/3 and 5x, my black strip becomes a bit more tinted, kind of like towards the purplish side, but on the Galaxy, it seems pretty consistent throughout the whole focal length. And if you really like that very blurry background, the Honor seems to have that as well, but sometimes the 5x can be a hit or miss. Now, for the back cameras, you are well equipped, and when you're walking around the city taking pictures, you don't feel limited at all. The colors are a little bit different, especially on the reds, where at one moment the Honor can be a bit more colorful or more saturated. And it's nice that both of these phones do have those little quick buttons to go from ultra wide all the way up to 5x on the Honor and 10x on the Galaxy. So maybe the Galaxy is a bit more easier access if you really want to zoom in. But I would say for the most part, having quick access to 5x is still good enough for everyday situations. And for these set of pictures, you can tell the reds are a lot different. On the Galaxy, it's definitely more deeper and closer to the eye, whereas on the Honor, it's kind of shifting towards a bit closer to orange. But both of these phones can go up to 100x, and it seems like the Galaxy have a bit better in terms of like the sharpness processing. So yes, it does not look good after 50 or even after 10, but the extra processing to help make it look sharper may be better for some people just because you're just using it to see something or to read something from afar. Now, when we're shooting indoors, it seems like the Galaxy still has more of that saturation push. As you can tell, Vegeta's skin is a bit more orange, versus the Galaxy is more muted, it's kind of more pale. And having these focal length is still pretty nice going up to 5x, because I feel like anything after 5 is just really hard to use and it's kind of not that useful because you'd be too zoomed in, especially if you're in some sort of restaurant setting. Now, when you're shooting with the main wide lens, you do get a nice background blur, and if you want the better looking or more bokeh-licious image, then I would lean towards the Honor. But in general, it's kind of hard for a regular consumer to like really care about that stuff, and no matter what, if you are shooting something up close or something like within your hand's distance, then you would automatically get that nice background blur anyways. Now, moving on to low light photos, I feel like in general ultra wide and wide is pretty similar. Of course, there are some differences, but in terms of just like quality wise, more or less they are pretty close. I did mention earlier with the background blur on the Honor is a lot more stronger. You can definitely tell when it's during nighttime. But more than anything else, the Honor does have a 180 megapixel telephoto lens, so that's what I really want to test out during these low light images. And if you are shooting with a lot of light source close by during nighttime, then yeah, they both look pretty good. But when I was in Dubai where buildings are so far away, of course I would naturally use the 5x and 10x. And just shooting with both, the Honor Magic 6 Pro is so much cleaner. You can tell that the sky is definitely not as noisy. You don't see like a lot of noise everywhere. The sky actually looks pretty clean compared to or seeing it right next to the Galaxy. And also the image and details as well. So the 180 megapixel telephoto lens is something that's pretty exciting on this phone. And of course I tried taking pictures of the moon without doing anything, just automatically pointing it up. And I was surprised on 10x, the Honor actually exposed automatically. I didn't do anything, I just pointed up and it just worked. And on the Galaxy, it doesn't do it automatically even if I tap on the screen, so I would have to manually lower the exposure by myself. So during nighttime or low light situations, the telephoto on the Honor is a lot better. Now for video, I still feel like the Honor still have a bit more saturation versus the Galaxy, and if you look in the shadows, you can see just a bit more brightness into them. Whereas on the Galaxy is a bit more neutral and it is a bit more contrastier too. I do feel like the general consumer may lean towards the Honor just because the colors do pop a bit more. Also, you can see in the shadows and on the upper left where the building is shining, the highlight doesn't seem like it's almost clipping too. Now for low light shooting with the ultra wide, the stabilization is a lot better on the Honor. On the Galaxy, you can tell there's a lot more floatiness, and obviously you see a lot of micro jitters on both. And then moving on to the main camera, yes, is a lot better, but I still feel like you can see a lot more micro jitters on the Honor, so the Galaxy does come out just a bit cleaner. Also, just like daytime, it's still a bit more contrasty, so the shadows are still kind of darker, so that's really up to you if you prefer that. Now I'm just gonna end it off with some selfies here, but both phones are really good. They both have a good focal range, so you're not gonna feel limited when you're out in the city taking pictures at all. If you like the pictures that have a bit more punch, then Honor is probably something you would lean towards, but I do think the Galaxy is just more consistent throughout the whole camera experience. So let me know which one you guys prefer. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.